Who do you think Drake's head, who's his biggest op? Is it Kendrick or is it Lucian Grange and UMG as a whole?
UMG as a whole.
Because that's his partner.
He thinks he can take down Kendrick. He thinks Kendrick only won because they gave him favoritism. And here's the thing, right? UMG won across the board. So if they take Kendrick and Drake and y'all releasing, y'all not clearing shit, y'all just putting it up. And they grabbing and they saying, okay, we're going to put both these songs in front of 1 million people, guaranteed. Boom, and they sit back. And Drake's crowd shares it, 800,000 times. Kendrick crowd shares it, 900,000 times. It goes back and forth, and you look up, and Drake's crowd is at 5 million, and Kendrick's crowd is at 12 million. UMG as a company is going to say, grab that and push it, right? We put y'all both in front of an equal million. Organically, he's outrunning you. So whatever it is that we know how to do that we do, we put that guaranteed million in front of you. We put you guys at the top of the playlist. Whoever was 1 or 2, it didn't matter. The one was going to make you listen to 2, or vice versa. People kept going back to Kendrick, right? And at the end of the day, I think this is a time where the sun didn't shine in the same dog's ass. And I believe that Drake has furthered Kendrick's success with this because every time he mentioned something, his album was slated to do 220, 230. 4 days into the first week sales, Drake announces the damn lawsuit. Pushes him to 319, right? He's accusations at the NFL. Now they're promoting it so I just think if Drake just lays back, it'll be all right. But Kendrick hasn't said a word.
I mean, he did do an interview with Ebo and Nadeska. It was so obvious that they were given a long list of things that they could not ask about. They could not ask about Drake by name. That's clear.
Or they didn't want to.
They couldn't ask. For sure, they wanted to.
Didn't care if he.
Nadeska, if you told me that she was experiencing a mild heart attack during this interview, I would believe you. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone more starstruck in an interview. And Kendrick almost starts volunteering information like when they ask him a relatively innocuous question and then he responds that his mission with dropping Not Like Us and whatnot was to really embrace the competitive spirit of hip hop. So I believe his team told them that they weren't allowed to ask this, and this, which it makes sense because it's an Apple Music interview. It's in front of a live audience. It's not necessarily the place where you would expect him to answer a bunch of in the weeds questions.
I just think they're doing the opposite of Drake. They're not paying him any attention.
Kendrick is
a lot more than Kendrick than what's going on.
Kendrick tries to characterize this moment in his career as if it's not entirely basically built upon him writing an extremely popular diss song about Drake. Because that in itself kind of undermines this moment. It makes it so that the moment is all about another artist. And granted, he put out a great album. Outside of that, didn't really allude to Drake all that much and everything. But I don't think Kendrick wants the best moment in his career to be based around a diss song, even though that is how things have really kind of panned out.
We have a lot of moments based around a knockout. So this song was all of that. And it was a body of work leading up to the one song. I believe if he'd have just dropped that song first, it wouldn't have gotten the push that it did when he dropped it. What was number 4, 5 or something like that? Remember, he had fed his core crowd. The first 2 songs I hated. It wasn't my top of Kendrick, right?
It was very believable that Drake was going to win this thing for the first few records, You got to understand, with Kendrick, he has a very diverse crowd, so he's feeding his crowd. I don't believe his core crowd even really too much gave a shit about Not Like Us, but his overall body of work, that was us. That was where he come from. Well, I think dropping the project allowed for it to appear as if this was about more than just the diss record. The project made it more like, but
even then,
he put out a bunch of music this year aside from just that one song.
But even then, because I was one of them, I believe the mention of the Super Bowl and the whole controversy helped it, because I'm like, he got to let something go by July, August. I don't believe he let that go till November. So for him to wait that long, did not put that song on that album to push it, because it might not have went towards the first week sales, but it would have went towards the overall album sales.
Drake's refusal to play ball, him shunning the Grammys, no longer submitting his music, making it clear in various acceptance speeches that he doesn't really respect the Grammys. That really like laid the ground for the current hate campaign that he's experiencing, because you can imagine that if he was on better terms with a lot of the big industry players, that maybe this whole thing wouldn't have ended up seeming so one-sided. Like there's a version of what the Grammy looked like in which they still fucked with Drake enough that they made a bunch of accommodations that basically didn't make it so clear how much so many of these people didn't fuck with him. And I mean, that really is kind of the shocking thing about all this, is like, wow, he really managed to piss off a lot of people. And seeing all those mega celebrities in one room, and there wasn't one person who seemed like they really had Drake's back, or if that person exists, they weren't exactly making it obvious. I mean, that was really kind of shocking.